Now, I'm holding court this morning with the general of the NRM, that is the NASA Resistance Movement, that is also lawyer Miguna. We have also with us Haman Munyora, who is a political analyst, also Aaron Cheriot, who is a senator of Kericho. Also, we do have with us Senator of Kiambu, Kimani Matangi as well. We're eagerly waiting for Jacob Medio to join us as well, much later in the course of the program. Let's just dig deeper into it. We begin with you, Miguna. Today's plan. It's good to see you.
Thank you very much, Debarl.
Yes.
First of all, a correction.
Yes.
It's not NASA Resistance Movement. It's National.
National, I'm sorry.
Resistance Movement.
I got it mixed up. Thank you,
Yes.
thank you. You and NASA,
and there are a lot of things
diametrically
that
different.
I need to correct in your narrative. There is no clash, and and it's not because of deep rivalry or Mr. Odinga's sense of entitlement. These are the words that you used in your narrative before you asked me the question. The issue is, we are going to swear in Raila Odinga as the people's president, the one who was elected on August 8th. This is a solemn, peaceful ceremony that we scheduled more than a month ago, and everybody in Kenya knows about that. We have not invited the police to the event. We have not said that we wanted or we want to fight the police. We've not invited Jubilee, but they are welcome to attend. We've not invited Mungiki. We have not said that we are going to do anything violent. Therefore, if there is a clash, it is not us who have invited the clash, who have provoked the clash, because Uhuru Park is a public park. Anybody should be allowed to go there. In fact, we don't need permission to go there. It's a legal right to be there. Now, two, it is not because of rivalry that we are doing a swearing in. It's because of an election that resulted in Raila Odinga winning it, but the IEBC deciding not to announce him as the winner.
Yes.
So they announced Uhuru Kenyatta as the winner. We disputed the declaration. The court agreed with us. But the court did not nullify the results of Raila Odinga winning. The court nullified Uhuru Kenyatta's declaration as president-elect. That is what the petition was about. The petition, pursuant to Article 140 of the Constitution, to only challenges the declaration of one as president-elect. It does not challenge the results of the entire election. This is a distinction with a difference, and that Kenyans must get clearly. So the elections of August 8th were not nullified, because if they were, all these governors, all these senators, all these women reps, the MPs, would not be serving. Not all the results were nullified, nor did the court say what Raila Odinga got during the election, nor did the court say what Uhuru Kenyatta got during the election. The court simply said the declaration of Uhuru Kenyatta as president was done unconstitutionally, it was done illegally, and that the results could not be validated.
Yes.
That is what we are doing. Now, ask yourself the question, why should anybody threaten death, destruction, maiming, and injury to innocent civilians who just wish to express their right? The right to assembly, the right to association, the right to speech. Because swearing in is speech. We are going there for Raila Odinga to read an oath saying that he's the people's president. We have a basis for that. Now, if after the ceremony somebody deems that any one of us has committed a crime, they can arrest us and take us to court. That is the legal thing. And then we will defend ourselves. I can assure you, they will not get a conviction if the prosecution is done in accordance to the law. I am ready to face such arrest and a trial. And I know they have been looking for me all over since yesterday. It doesn't really matter to me. I came here specifically so that they know where I am. I'm not hiding. From here, I'm going to Uhuru Park. Now, they can do whatever they want. But as you can see, I'm not armed. I'm not dangerous. I'm not threatening anybody.
Thank you.
So should anybody attack me, the public is quite clear. Miguna has not done anything.
All right.
The person attacking me is the criminal.
Thank you. We want to see also what is, of course, in the offing today, what is up the collective sleeves of DASA, looking at the front page of the Daily Nation, what to expect on this day of conflict. We have the knowns, also we have the unknowns, also the police plan as well. And at 8:30, the public to be seated. This is according to their plans today. And then opposition MPs and other invited guests arrive as well at 9. And also NASA principals led by Raila Odinga make grand entry into Uhuru Park at around 10. 11 speech by one of the members coordinating the assemblies, also Raila to take oath as the people's president, then give his speech at 12 p.m. Then announce who will swear in Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka. And the questions also, probing ones, are what kind of oath will they take? What happens next after the oath, and what will Raila tell his supporters? Where will Raila and Kalonzo go after the ceremony? And of course, we have the police plan as well. Regional Commissioner Bernard Leparamarmai says no legal assembly will be allowed in Nairobi. JCU, or GSU, I should say, and administration police officers will be stationed at Uhuru Park and surrounding areas. Plainclothes police officers to patrol the city and guard against looting, mugging, and destruction of property. Prison wardens, temporarily gazetted as police officers, have been mobilized. Nairobi County Police Commander maintains Uhuru Park will be out of bounds to public. So we have also the People Daily. I just wanted to show you what it has. It says that 20,000 cops to beef up city security. Nairobi Police Commander Japhet Koome says his men on high alert as NASA insists their planned swearing in to Uhuru Park is on course. And we do have the Standard as well. Moment of truth. This is a splash. What next? Kenyans today wake up to a uncertainty as an apprehension. The state has vowed to stop the planned swearing in of NASA leader Raila Odinga. It has also threatened to shut down and revoke licenses of media houses that broadcast the event, but NASA insists that the show will go on. We just did a story for you this morning, and of course I want to hear from our panelists as well. This particular development about whoever has a cheek to actually broadcast this event, their license will be revoked and there will be a blackout. Haman Manyora.
Debarl, that's a very serious thing, but allow me, Debarl, to join the people of Langata and say poorly to the people who suffered because of the fire that raced down the Kijiji in Langata. It used to be called Ghetto. I also wish to give my condolences to the families who lost the 4 loved ones. I was in that place yesterday, Debarl, and it is quite a humanitarian crisis. Many people have been displaced, dreams have been shattered, and hopes, small businesses have been destroyed. But I must make this observation that for the first time, Miguna, for the first time, I have seen Kenyans of high rank in some form of effort to deal with tragedies that affect common people. You know, the Sinai fire tragedy, the rail tragedy, nobody ever cares. If it is Westgate and the rest of those where these big boys go, you hear tents for counseling, Kenya for Kenya donations. But for the first time, I have seen that people can really attend to the common man. And I really must commend the governor, the deputy president, the MP Koril, MC, and the rest of the many people who have gone to Langata to assist the people. And I had time to talk to this man I always watch on TV. It's called Masai. This disaster man. I get the impression, Cheriot, you people in Jubilee should empower this man to set up a national disaster management and rapid response unit with complete deployment and equipment. I think he can do a wonderful job. So I really want to thank Masai for what he's doing.
Yeah, but on that note, I think also the National Disaster Management Bill, which has taken over 15 good years.
Yeah, you should do it.
You should do something about it.
And when you do it, you think about people like Masai. His DNA is in helping people. I think when that guy helps a person during a disaster, he goes to sleep peacefully.
So, thank you.
Now, about this media thing, Debarl, you know, I've seen on Twitter and in social media space, people are saying, that you people in the media have been inviting this because of your dalliance with the government. People are pointing, for example, at how the kind of role you played during the last general election. You gagged yourself. You had reporters all over the country. And yet you never gave us the figures. You never told us what you saw. You joined us in expecting figures from IBC. So people are saying this was coming your way. However, despite that, we must join you in warning the government. There is nothing as dangerous as gagging the media. The moment you interfere with the freedom of the media, you have committed the kind. That's why one of the amendments, you people you know say in America, is which amendment? That was passed in America that says Congress, which is Parliament, shall not pass a law limiting the freedom of the space, because the press, because they know the moment you deal with you limit the freedom of the press, you have destroyed society, because expression is very, very important.
Right, let's hear from Meron Cheriot.
Well, Debarl, allow me also, just like it would be unfair if I don't take this time to also pass a word of pole to the victims of the disaster that happened in Langata. This is my neighborhood, which I've lived for quite a good number of years, and these are people that I know so well. Therefore, waking up to that very unfortunate news yesterday morning was quite unfortunate, but I want to appreciate that those, like Habman actually rightfully observes, there was a bit of semblance of order like in previous disasters. It is my sincere hope that we shall build on the experience that we learned from yesterday and things will move. You had actually mentioned something about the National Disaster Management Bill that stalled last Parliament. Actually, what
Since the 10th Parliament.
Since actually the 10th Parliament. What, new experiences have always introduced new ideas. And last Parliament, the thing that delayed it is that we couldn't get an agreement on who leads the command. And this was borrowed from the experience that came from the Huruma house crash.
Yes.
You remember there was the military and AP, and when they got there, they spent the first 2 hours arguing over who should take charge. And this bill has sought to address this, but there have been different opinions from all these players. So it is my sincere hope, and it's something that I will take up and keenly follow, as you have rightfully followed. Coming back to this question about gagging of the media, Debarl, my problem is with the Editors Guild, because I don't like reacting to hearsay, and it is not in my nature to respond to things that I have no concrete information about. I have seen the communication from the chair of the Editors Guild, that is Linus Kaikai, claiming that there was a meeting and the editors were given a address down at State House and that kind of a thing. Then later on, like an hour later, I saw also another message from his vice chair claiming that nothing could be further from the truth, that the meeting on State House was purely a consultative meeting. We had a nice discussion and that kind of thing. So when you have an organization where the chair and the vice chair are reading from different script, who do you believe? I personally tend to believe the vice chair more, because he says he was in the meeting. You've shown on your screens the members of the press that were present in that meeting. Linus Kaikai was in that meeting, so probably he was misled to believe that that is what happened. So it will be unfair for me to sit here and pass judgment and say,
right,
if this is what is being done, it's unfair.
All right, let's hear from Kimani Mwatangi. Of course, we shall see how valid and true that is as well. You comment on this as well?
Yes, thank you, Debarl. Let me first start by saying good morning to our viewers. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning when we expect to engage in nation-building activities, and that's why we are here. Two, as my colleagues have done, let me also express my very, very, very sincere sympathy and empathy with those Kenyans in Kijiji area who suffered huge losses the other day as a result of that fire. And Debarl, before I got elected as a senator of Kiambu, many years ago, more than 15 years ago, I have always engaged, and I was one of the pioneers who volunteered to build sanitary facilities for people in Kijiji, Mukuru, Kwajenga, Kijiji, Kayaba, and I've been engaged in trying to help these people a lot. Now, I also want to acknowledge that those efforts have not been enough. And as you heard the Deputy President saying, that actually one of the reasons why that fire consumed so much property, so many people are lost, so many lives are lost, is because there's no water. in Kijiji area. And I want to pledge, like my foundation has always done, that in Kijiji area, or Matangi Foundation is also going to establish water points that I will install storage tanks in that Kijiji in various places.
Thank you.
Through my foundation to ensure that those people in future can access water. The way I have done that when there was a tragedy in Makueni, when there was an oil spill. I went there and I also established a water point for schools there which had been suffering without water, and villages, and all across the country. So we'll do that in Kijiji.
Right, thank you.
Now,
Right, before we took a short break, we had promised to circle back with you, Kimani Mwatangi.
yes, because as in the rule of fairness, I had not gotten my chance to comment on what is happening this morning. But let me also first make a disclaimer that that I comment only on this issue because it is on the agenda, that because it's in the press, and hence as a panelist here, I would want to be fair to the debate and comment on it. Not because I'm convinced or I think that it adds any value either to the lives of Kenyans or to what we intend to do. Indeed, if you ask me, it is a culmination of a quest by deceptive liars who want to seek attention and divert the country's attention from some of their failures, and others also trying to find relevance and make impression on politicians that they think would validate their continued stay in politics, or their quest in politics. So I would not be commenting on it because I think it has value. But then, if we have to discuss, Debarl, the question you had asked on the presupposed ban on the broadcast, we need to take a step further first and ask why before we arrive there. And I would want to start on it this way. First, Debarl, it is a lie for anyone to come to this panel and say that the elections of the 8th of August were not nullified because we have governors and senators and other members of parliament in office. That's untrue. Untrue because our constitution is clear that when you have to file a petition in the Supreme Court, it is a presidential election petition. And that is why the petition that was in the Supreme Court was the presidential election petition. Other petitions of governors, which are even ongoing right now, and other members elected, are in the High Court. And that is the process. So the ruling of the Supreme Court as delivered, and the petitioner in that particular petition was the principles of NASA, was affecting that particular presidential election. Two, the ruling as delivered by Justice Maraga was very clear that he indeed went out of his way to explain that an election is a process. And having picked out the issues he picked out, and remember, the key questions or queries raised by NASA were issues around transmission and so on. But then the result was that the election results were nullified, and thus for anyone now moving forward to comment, indeed, I would want to say to Kenyans this morning that the only election results that can be discussed, talked about, either in their validity or invalidity, are the results of the elections of the 26th, not the 8th, because the effect of the court ruling was to nullify that process that led to those to the results of that election. Two, I want to remind our viewers this morning that immediately when Justice Maraga made his ruling, and we all remember it's just too recent, the first people to step outside of the Supreme Court and hail that ruling, and indeed say that it is a historic day, not only in Kenya but in the whole world, that a presidential election can be nullified, was none other but the main principle of the NASA coalition, Raila Odinga, plus all his lawyers who are present, and other principles. Indeed, they went on record in the whole, even international media, having confirmed and said that they were pleased, that they accepted that particular ruling. Now, anyone else, I tell you, and this is where Kenyans must see where the truth is. Anyone else coming to purport that they have results, that now they have a second thought to come and talk about results that they imagine would be discussed. And also I want to remind Kenyans that in the body of the petition that was filed by NASA,
yes,
there was nothing about election, the results or numbers. Indeed, their query was about the electoral system.
Thank you.
And so let me conclude, because we have a scenario that we have to comment about, so that we can open the minds of Kenyans to see. And I want to urge Kenyans, can we, for goodness sake, at a time like this, do what we know we should do? Move forward with our lives and build our country, and ignore deceptives. And now Debarl, when Miguna here stands and tells us that they are going to go and swear in the person according to the results, this constitution is very clear. I would want to read very loudly to our viewers this morning what the constitution says in Article 3. It says that every person has an obligation to respect and uphold and defend this constitution. In Article 3.1. In Article 3.2, it says any attempt to establish a government otherwise than in compliance with this constitution is illegal. Now, what these guys are saying is that they want to go and engage in an illegality that could result in chaos through deception. And then the question thus that you have asked, and I want to remind you, Debarl, and the media, that in 2007 and 2008, on your own volition as the media, you said you are not going to continue to broadcast live images of what was happening as a result, because what was the result of that was that it was continuing to fund confusion and violence. And so then you ask yourself that pertinent question that I asked. Is it in your own conscience as media houses right that you know that, one, this is an illegality, you know it is a lie, you know it should not happen? Do you want to say the way you thought and said in 2007 and 2008 yourselves, not anyone told you, that then you want to go today and engage in the same activity, broadcast these images so that they can have their way of causing chaos? Is that responsible,
right,
even of you?
Right.
You know, even without being asked to do so.
Okay, but we shall answer that much later. But let's come back to you, Miguna. First of all, he raises questions about the legality of today's events. He's mentioned the Article 3, subsection 2, any attempt to establish the government otherwise than in compliance with this constitution is unlawful. He harks you back to 20 August, of course, 2017 with the elections, that yes, we had the principals lauding what the court did and saying they accept the outcome of that particular ruling by Justice Maraga as well, and it was null and void. From your own understanding as a consummate, just a moment, from your own understanding as a consummate lawyer, when they say that, that election is null and void, what does it mean?
The question is based on a lie, and I would like to correct the lie.
Which question?
Your question and his comment are based on lies. I will correct them. The first correction is this. This is what Article 141 of the Constitution says. A person may file a petition in the Supreme Court to challenge the election of the president-elect within 7 days. Not the process, not the entire election. The declaration of a president-elect, that is what was challenged in the petition, and that's what the Constitution says. It says election of the president-elect. It does not say the declaration of results of the petitioner. It does not say the process of the petition or of the election. The declaration of results of the president-elect, that is what was nullified. It's right here in black and white. So nobody can come here like Wamatangi to try to mislead your viewers by saying this article says anything else. That's number one. So the nullification was on the declaration that Uhuru Kenyatta won the August 8th election. The court said he had not won. But this article does not say the court then should find who won. And the petition did not seek to say who won. Therefore, we are saying the court, in trying to determine who won without being asked, ordered the servers to be opened. There was a reason why the court ordered the IBC to open the servers. The reason was, open the servers so that we can compare the results you've declared vis-a-vis what happened at the polling station. Because if you remember, the Maina Kiai decision says the results declared by the returning officer and the presiding officers at the polling stations are the results. Those are the results that determine who wins. But what happened on August 8th? The results that they used to declare Uhuru Kenyatta winner were Form 34Bs that were made at the constituency level. So that's correction number one. We are not entitled to our facts. We can only interpret facts, but we cannot make up facts. So that's fact number one. Fact number two, Wamatami skips Article 1, which is the primary article in this constitution. Note 3, 1. It starts, sovereignty of the people. All sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya and shall be exercised only in accordance with this constitution. The people have the sovereign right and ultimate power to decide who their governors are, who their leaders are. They did that on August 8th. The IBC, in conspiracy with Jubilee, declared results that did not reflect the will of the people and the sovereignty of the people. Now the people have decided that we are going to exercise our sovereignty and power. We are going to say the IBC refused to open the servers in violation of the court order because they knew Raila Odinga won. We are going to assert that right. Now, how do you tell us then that we have no right to do that? Who gave you that power? Who gave you that authority to tell me, Guna,
Thank you,
that I cannot say Raila Odinga won?
All right, thank you.
Now, on the gagging, because you ask questions of everybody of the gagging, but you have not asked me.
Yes.
I want to respond on the gagging of the media. To assume that Linus Kaikai is lying, is the chairman of the Editors Guild, right? Before he issued the statement, he did not issue the statement on his own behalf. He issued the statement on the guild's behalf. So he met with guild members. All editors, they are not fools. They discussed the matter. He definitely received communication from those who attended, and they released a statement. For somebody to come here and say, Linus Kaikai is lying, the only person I can believe is the deputy chair, is just not be ignorant, but to be obtuse. Because Linus Kaikai has no interest to talk about this matter other than the fact that as the guild chair, his responsibility is to protect the integrity, independence, and neutrality of the media. And he has done exactly that. So we can't quibble with that. None of us here in the panel are members of the Editors Guild.
All right.
We did not attend the meeting.
Okay.
Why would we attack Mr. Kaikai when we know the tendency of African governments, especially this one, is to try to suppress dissent and muzzle the media?
Thank you.
And we are saying, no, Uhuru Park is going to be full to the brain. The police cannot shoot their way through 5 million people, and you are going to see the people assert themselves today.
All right, thank you. Okay, we need to also just take a look of what the statement on direct threats by Jubilee government against the media. This is from the Editors Guild, and maybe you're not privy to this particular statement. I will read just a couple of paragraphs from it. The Kenya Editors Guild is gravely alarmed over a developing trend by government to gag or threaten the media over coverage of the current political events in the country. We just learned today that on Friday last week, a section of media managers and selected editors from the main media houses were quietly summoned into a meeting at the State House in Nairobi, the objective of which were unknown. But the proceedings should be clear cause for alarm to the media and the public. The brief meeting attended by President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto, Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i, ICT Secretary Joe Musheru and AG Githu Muigai did not bode well for the freedom of expression and press in the country. At the meeting, President Kenyatta expressly threatened to shut down and revoke the licenses of any media house that will broadcast live the planned purported swearing in of NASA leader Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka on Tuesday, which is today. The direct threat has subsequently been echoed off record by other senior members of government. The Guild is appalled by the details of the meeting, which was held under an atmosphere of intimidation for the media representatives present. Chairman of the Media Owners Association, Hanik Tunga, last evening confirmed the tone of the meeting as addressing down, in which the media was, quote, read the riot act. This brazen threat is intended to intimidate the media from performing its rightful role of informing the public on matters affecting them. We would like to state it with all the clarity we can that the media is not an actor in the ongoing contest between Jubilee and NASA over the outcome of a general election. The media remains a mere messenger and a chronicler of any events happening in our country. Our country's vibrant media is made up of competent professionals in journalists and editors that continue to make sound decisions on what constitutes news in public interest. Consequently, the Editors Guild condemns and rejects the threats and purported instructions issued at State House on Friday. We call on all media houses and journalists to carry on their work diligently and to report impartially on all matters of public interest, as they have always done. The government should also ensure that journalists are neither harmed nor intimidated as they perform their work on Tuesday and thereafter. And that is a statement, of course, from the Kenya Editors Guild. This is a statement. You say this was a consultative meeting in light of what...
And the president has not denied.
Just a moment. Let's say from
Debarl.
Yes.
If you are a fair and credible media house, I want you to also put up there the statement that has been issued by the Vice Chair of the Kenya Editors Guild. I came here and I made a very simple point, which unless you're extremely delusional, you wouldn't understand what I mean. I have just made a simple point and say you have a statement that you've read from the chair.
So
there's another statement from the Vice Chair. So who do we believe? The Vice Chair has said we haven't had a guild, Editors Guild meeting to deliberate on these issues.
I'm not privy to that, but if you have the statement, I would love to see it so far. But you know, as far as I'm concerned, that will just remain to be an innuendo, right? If you actually knew that yes, there is a statement and you have a counter statement, why would you have not really come with the statement itself yourself?
I didn't know you were going to play this, but if you go online, you'll find it. Please Google, just the same way you got it. You're choosing not to play this.
No. The question is, I think the question will remain. As any developed democracy, I think also the hand of the media should not be shoehorned by anyone. Should it be the executive or any other? They should just remain independent, don't you think?
My question is a very simple one, Debarl. You have an organization. The chair and the vice chair are sending two different information. I know,
as I've mentioned,
because
I do not have that particular statement, so I will
you have chosen not to have it.
No. I'm not privy to it, so I will not really encourage that discussion if you don't have the particular official statement itself.
Personal.
All right, let's say for Manwani, we'll continue with you.
I think the bar, Cheriot is right. There is such a statement. It was read from that where you are sitting yesterday night.
Yeah.
By Mark Masai.
Yeah.
This is a statement that was read.
It was from right
from
there,
NTV.
right here where you are seated. So it's not important.
What was read?
The statement from the vice chair denying what Kakai had said and so on and so forth. But that's not the problem. The problem to me is simple. That the media in this country has refused to enjoy the freedom we have given them. The media must learn to play its role, to assert itself. Nobody will give it to you. The media is playing cartoons in this country, showing us all manner of cheap stuff from Mexico and Nigeria when important things are happening in the country. You hear something is happening, something of monumental proportions somewhere in the country, and the media is showing Niger movies. The media is showing cartoons. So you have refused to occupy your own space. Don't begin to complain. Look at America. Is the media having it rosy with Trump? Is it? It's not. Yet they are not begging for that freedom from Trump. Trump is fighting them, is rubbishing them, calling them fake and everything. But they are doing their job. The media must learn to occupy its own space. The media must not feed Kenyans on garbage and cabbage, if you wish. When important things are going on, you go to every channel, from 1 to 1. And you wonder, this kind of thing is happening in the country. And all channels are showing cartoons and cartoons of the 1980s. So you occupy your own space. Nobody will give in to you. You must assert yourself, use the space, and when it suits you, and it does suit you many times, you are always in bed with the government. So once in a while, when your bedmate pinches you, you come crying to us. We will not take it.
All right, I think let's hear from, you'd finished?
I think
You're done?
Yeah.
Okay, let's hear from Kimano Matangi.
Yes, Debarl, just two issues. First, I want to capture on what Miguna said on the first issue, because we have to leave each of the points that we debate factually settled. Now, you know, he attempted to confuse our viewers this morning by reading out Article 1. And with a very loud voice, the first few statements. But when you get to the end of the provision of that particular, constitutional article, then he toned down, where it clearly says that that power enjoyed by the people shall be exercised in accordance with this constitution. And that's the key thing, that yes, the constitution realizes that the power belongs to the people, but it can only be exercised in accordance to this constitution. And the question Kenyans would want to be asking them is, which part of this constitution are they complying with when they are saying that they are going to be in direct contravention and contradiction of the constitutional provision of Article 3.2? That's the first question. Two, when he purports to read Article 140 to say that you can only go to challenge the election of a president-elect, and you cannot challenge the process. The ruling as given by Justice Maraga was spoken out and read in broad daylight, in simple, clear English. And Justice Maraga said, and I repeated that earlier, that an election is a process. And for that matter, when he looked at some of those processes with his co-judges, that's why they nullified the election. And there is nothing simpler, Debarl, and Kenyans must know this. If anyone was to believe anything NASA and especially Miguna is trying to say this morning, there is nothing that is easier than a petitioner to go moving to court to challenge the results of an election. And if you remember, during that petition that they moved to court then, and that led to that nullification, they had never asked or challenged or told the court that they won the election, and hence they would have filed a petition saying either they want a recount of the votes that were cast, because they knew they had not won. That's why they could not ask for a recount. But like I said, we are going into a dead debate, because this was all sealed and put to rest by the Supreme Court ruling and accepted by them. Now, lastly, on this question of the journalists, let me make a comment on that, because I want to remind you, Debarl, I want you to remind you that recently there was a time when one of the journalists was assaulted in an event that was being held by NASA somewhere in Kilimani. And
NASA headquarters.
And at NASA headquarters. And remember, if in case you have forgotten, that all of you journalists came together and you said you are not going to be covering the events of those people until they behaved and stopped assaulting journalists. And you said that there is no way you are going to continue to give coverage to people who do not have the decency to respect journalists.
Yes.
Why did you decide that you would not give them coverage? Now, and in my earlier statement, I reminded you, I want to remind media houses again, that at that time in 2007, 2008, you conscientiously yourselves said that we will not continue to broadcast this because it is not in the interest. And one more thing, because maybe you could have forgotten also. The reason why you came up with that decision and you explained to Kenyans is that journalism and journalists and media houses are also stakeholders in the process of finding peace and development in this country. And that's why you said, based on this, because you realize the vital role played by the media, you would not continue to broadcast events that are detrimental to that cause of the nation. Why are you saying that this time we have got representatives of media houses in control who do not read or believe in that concept. And
right.
what has changed?
Okay, the question will be then, first of all, we need to establish and have facts. Right? If these particular media representatives were called to State House, is it a fact or is it not a fact?
That is a fact.
It is a fact. Then what is the rhyme or reason of actually calling, summoning the media representation in light of what we know will be happening maybe the following week to State House?
Don't use the word summon. It wasn't a summon. They've been called for a meeting.
And it is not the first time.
Yeah.
And it's also not the first time. There have been there have been countless meetings between
it's not the first time.
Representatives of the media.
Just a moment. Can I just finish my question?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
The question would be, when we have a very ticklish, situation like we have today.
Yes.
And there's a meeting even prior to that particular meeting. Yes.
Absolutely.
Don't you think the providential time that you are actually having this particular meeting is questionable?
But Debarl, would you say, would you honestly say that when we are not pretending, nobody is pretending that government is blind to the fact that an event like today, if it goes on without being dealt with or controlled, is detrimental to peace, the safety, and well-being of our people. So, are you saying that government should be quiet?
Thank you.
That there should be no preparation.
We'll come to you.
That you as media houses should not be roped in to discuss the vital role you play.
Thank you very much. In all fairness, also I'll read your statement because I got it right now. From the Vice Chair.
Thank you.
So it's now clear. You said that statement on alleged position by Kenya Editors Guild on alleged threats to media. The Vice Chair says, I would like to clarify that the statement from the Kenya Editors Guild Chairman, Mr. Linus Kakai, is the Chairman's personal position on the subject matter. I personally attended the said meeting to represent the Kenya Broadcasting Corporation Managing Director. It was a meeting by the executive led by the President and the media owners. What is being termed as dress down is a misrepresentation of facts. We had fruitful discussion and we all agreed that media freedom has to be accompanied by a high degree of responsibility. And to no point were any threats issued to media houses or any ultimatums given on how we choose to broadcast matters of public interest or those relating to the current political situation in the country. Let it be clear that there has been no meeting by the Kenya Editors Guild Executive Committee to agree on and issue the statement alleged to have been sent out by Mr. Kakai. In this regard, as Vice Chair of the Guild, I dissociate myself with the said statement. The Guild has laid down structures which must be followed when issuing any statement on behalf of members, especially on such pertinent issues. And of course, we want also to rope in Dr. Hannington Gaya, who was in that meeting, and of course he's a former chair of the Kenya Media Owners Association. All right, let's hear from him. Good morning, Mr. Hannington Gaya. Hello. All right, we'll call him back and then to clarify on this this particular the dressing down, because I think that is the term that has been also put on both particular statements as well. Let's hear from, we were clear with you?
Just finish, because
right,
I'm the one who started.
You will, I'll give you time.
You've already given.
Very briefly,
yes,
please.
Debarl, Mugonyi, who works for the Deputy President, was captured live threatening a Nation Media Group journalist. That was less than 2 weeks ago. And it was broadcast all over. Have we forgotten? The threats, and by the way, the so-called threat by private individuals cannot be compared by those who exercise power on behalf of the people, such as the presidency. So when you hear a threat from the presidency, it is something very serious. This is not the first time. This is not the first time that we have had threats. Now, secondly, regarding the contrary statements coming from the chairman and the vice chair, I would think that the vice chair is issuing a statement on his own behalf, because the other editors have not disowned Linus Kaikai's statement. So as far as I'm concerned, and reading the newspaper, Mr. Hannington Gaya, whom I know, has also supported what Linus Kaikai said, and he was at the meeting. So regardless, the point is, the media, there is an attempt to gag the media. And this we should not accept, no matter where it is coming from, particularly if the media has not done anything for which it should be gagged. If somebody has a problem, they should deal with that issue. Now, the problem with arguing with Senator Wamatani is that he is completely illiterate as far as the law is concerned. He reads the Constitution as a commoner, as a pedestrian on the street. interprets it that way.
Yes.
Simplistically, literally, without knowing that a constitution is a living thing and that you have to read the entire constitution to be able to understand.
Yes.
Now, when you say that I quoted Article 1 in a loud voice, what does that mean? I'm supposed to quote it in a soft voice. And that you're saying I went
but
easy
those
on the
are
last
just
part.
semantics.
So those are no, but he dwelt on it. Now, the main thing is this, Debarl, and this we are not going to run away from.
Yes.
The IEBC is the public body authorized to conduct elections in Kenya. And it did conduct elections on August 8th. The IEBC got a valid order that is still alive today from the Supreme Court to open its servers. The purpose for that was so that we don't have debates here. We don't have arguments. We have the real results from the servers and the Kim's kits. The question is, why has the IEBC continued to be in contempt of the court order with the support of the Jubilee regime? The answer is simple. If those servers disclosed that Uhuru Kenyatta won, they would have been opened. And Jubilee would be so happy to be able to display and run around with the results. The only reason they have refused to open the servers is because Raila Odinga won. Let them prove us wrong. Arrest Miguna today that I'm swelling Raila in with fake results, but produce the real results by opening the server.
Thank you.
The reason why they cannot occupy Uhuru Park today is because they know where the confrontation is going.
All right,
and they will not be able to win.
Let's hear from Haman Manyora.
See, first on this media thing.
No. I think I'll be unfair to Aaron Chirwet. We'll come to you. It's
slowly.
Okay. Aaron Chirwet?
Yeah, because, you know, Debarl, I think I stand vindicated after all this debate that we've had this morning. I said earlier on in your beginning that I do respond to facts and things as they have been laid out to us. I have no, I'm not delusional, you know, about the facts that are pressed before us. And what has come out clearly this morning is that at the heart of the Editors Guild, they seem to have misunderstood what this meeting was for. And therefore you ask a very valid question and say, was it in order for them to have been called to State House and have this meeting? And we continue asking and question, is it the first time that they are having such kind of a meeting? There is no doubt whatsoever that whatever is going to happen today in this country is something of monumental importance. And therefore, it will be good order of any self-respecting country to call the media and say, listen, gentlemen, we have a situation on the 30th, and we need to agree on how we go about all these events. And they had this meeting.
Thank you.
The facts are there.
Independent.
So for you to come and say that somebody is threatening the media, I feel you're being unfair.
All right. Okay, allow me to just cross over to Dr. Hannington Ngaya to also give us his a view of what really happened on Friday. Good morning, Dr. Hannington Ngaya.
Good morning, Debarl.
Yes, thank you very much for joining us this morning. And I am aware that also you ended up meeting at Status on Friday. Why are you?
I was at the meeting on Friday, yeah?
Yes.
Just like any other time when I'm called.
Yes.
Yeah.
And yes, would you kindly just tell us what really transpired in the meeting? Was there any issue of dress down from the...
I think Debarl, what is important,
Yes.
as leaders, as opinion shapers in Kenya, it's good for us to be factual on issues.
Yes.
So first and foremost, the president has the right to call, to invite any group and share with them the state of the nation.
Yes.
And this one he has been doing, including the diplomats.
Yes.
And in fact, in some of these meetings, even your general manager, NTV,
Yes.
has attended and presented the media and given his personal views, and we never took issues the way he has acted this time.
Yes.
The president was very generous to us. He asked the media leaders to share with him the state of the nation and how they intend to cover important issues. And the Nation Media Group was represented by none other than the executive, I think, managing director, Tom Mushindi.
Yes.
And the president and the deputy president directed Tom Mushindi, actually by name. He's the only one who was mentioned by name to contribute to the issues of the day that were being discussed.
Yes.
After this, a number of us gave opinions, including myself, on how we should be conducting ourselves as a responsible media. So for us to now come out and Linus Kaikai to distort and quote me or misquote me as a visit of saying that the president dressed down the media and threatened to close down the media is shocking.
All right.
And unprofessional.
Okay, but the question
media
is
supposed to be professional, Debarl.
Thank you. Then
And when a journalist of his rank makes such a statement and then even purpose to issue it on behalf of editors who have not even met, he has been countermanded by none other than his vice chairman, indicates the lowest level of the media in Kenya, the lowest level we have reached.
All right, thank you.
You know my position on a number of issues over many years. I'm not one person to mince words on issue security.
All right, thank you. The question will be again, was today's event really discussed in that particular meeting?
What event?
Today's NASA swearing in of Raila Odinga and, of course, Kalonzo Musyoka as a deputy president. Was it discussed?
All issues were discussed. All issues that are going on in the country were discussed.
No. The question I'm asking you, sir, the question I'm asking pointedly. Thank you.
A number of issues were discussed.
All right.
We discussed even the judiciary. We discussed a number of issues.
Thank you very much.
And those things were in confidence. They were not addressing down or an order.
All right. My question is very pointed at you. Right? It's a very pointed question. Was the swearing in discussed in that particular meeting?
It was discussed.
It was discussed. Thank you. Thank you. Let's leave it at that. Thank you very much, Dr. Annington Gaya. Yes, we've heard from, but the meeting was discussed, and my question was it providential to really have this particular meeting?
And he's contradicting what he said here.
He's contradicting what he says from...
What I'm gathering...
All right, let's say from Herman Manyora.
What I'm gathering, I think we are really almost like wasting time. First, the president has a right to say what he says to any group. The president can call media owners or editors or whoever you call them and tell them stuff, including begging them, asking them. But the president can also order them. The president can also intimidate them. But he doesn't have to say it. You know, when you are in the presence of the president, he doesn't have to tell you don't do it. You just look at the body language and the way he talks. I know this guy is intimidating. So, but that is not important. All over the world, people in power would want to control what the media says. In America, in the UK, everywhere in the world, heads of government and state will be happy if media did what they wanted them to do. Now I'm coming back to what I said.
Yes.
It is for the media to do what it ought to do. For example, instead of even arguing about whether the president ordered them or not, let them just beam at Uhuru Park today until 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock without talking. Let them not give us cartoons and Mexico and soap opera and rubbish from...
you made that point.
So the point I'm making now is that media can just act. You don't need to debate. And a point of correction, my friend Omatangi, it is indeed true the media gave us a blackout in those the bad days of 2007. I think on or around 30th of December 2007, just after Kibaki was declared, or just around that time. It is equally true, Wamatangi. The order came from the Minister of Internal Security, ordering media houses not to dare. Go and ask the lady who was in KTN and what her name was. Yeah, it's true.
Okay,
it's very, very true.
I think it was my opportunity to respond to some of the things. Let me start by my friend the professor Herman Wamnyora.
Manyora.
Jaco is not in his own who calls him Wamnyora. Prof.
Yes.
2007, 2008.
Yes.
Yes, an order was given.
Correct. By the
But
minister.
even as the order was being given, and I want to remind you, and Debarl can search their archives, the media houses themselves, on their own volition, and I want to repeat to you, because I believe you are still in the good age where you can still remember things. At least you've not gone beyond.
My father is still alive.
That indeed the media took the initiative, and that is not in contestation.
Neither is the order from the government to media houses.
My point was very simple, and I don't want to belabor it, Herman. That the media took their own decision to ensure that they acted responsibly. Now, and that's said and done. I believe now, Debarl, because it is good to be fair, that after listening to Dr. Hannington Gaya, and Hannington is my very good friend. We have served with him in many forums, and including looking critically at some good editorial work he's done, and he's running his magazine. He was a member of a panel that I was sitting in Kenya Bureau of Standards, and I believe that he's a man of good character and he's honest. Now, once you hear him say that, it is good now to balance the views and see indeed that probably there was overreaction from the chairman in presenting and representing the views and the procedure, and as such it is important that he corrects that view, and still the media should not forget that they have that responsibility and they don't have to be reminded. Now lastly, on this issue, Debarl, have you wondered, every time when we come to this panel, I think there are two words that never escape Miguna's mouth, and that is arrest Miguna today. that statement must come from him every time. Arrest Miguna today.
Rubbish.
Even today, he is still saying arrest Miguna today. Now you know why he has to continue this arrest notion, and we understand his desperation to try and get into the good books of being called the good boy of Raila Odinga again. But Miguna, no one is going to arrest you. We are going to allow you to continue making your noise, but one thing you're not going to enjoy from, because there is no value in arresting you. What value would you add after being arrested? So I want you to understand that yes, we will acknowledge and allow you to be noisy, but your noise has no effect. So what you know Debarl, and this is in fairness, because Miguna makes a lot of comments, but he does not either realize or understand the boundary of what his personal ambitions to be back to the good books of the man who employed him and brought him to politics, that he called a joker and somebody who is not fit to hold public office, and you played that clip here. And in his quest to get back to his good books, he has to say anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
okay. We need to start winding up.
I want to be quick.
No. We stop for time. Yeah,
Yes, there's something.
You will reply.
Yeah.
Just give
There's something that I want to say.
Very briefly, we're winding up.
I've listened about all this debate about this charade that is happening today at Uhuru Park. And from the live pictures that you're beaming, it's clear that this is a fantastic flop. Because you remember when you had the proper swearing in of a duly elected president, by 6 o'clock in the morning, there was no space in Kasarani. What you're seeing here is tens of people, as was clearly pointed out by your reporter. And the reason why this is happening is that IBC today, contrary to what NASA has been claiming all along, has put out a full-page advert explaining this lie and puncturing word after word the lie that NASA has been building their case upon, trying to say that the servers were not open, that the October 26th election were not done in accordance with the law. You know, we've got to be sincere with ourselves, Debarl. You cannot come here on this panel and tell us that because we are not lawyers, this document, written by very plain and simple English that even a class 2 child can understand, we do not understand it. Debarl, allow me just to finish by saying this. It is irrational. You know, I can't find even the better word to use to describe what NASA are doing today, because it is not anchored in law or logic. We have a clear constitution that set out that if you have a problem with the election, the way they had a problem with the August 8th election, it is still the same IBC that is supposed to conduct an election. And they did that. What they are doing today is a political drama. And they should be allowed to go ahead with it. Nobody has a problem with that.
But
after that, then what happens?
All right. Very briefly, this is your closing remarks.
This is ad hominem. What you are hearing from these jokers, Mr. Wamatangi and Cheriot.
Well, you also called
When
a joker.
Can I finish?
Let me finish.
Just give him his
let me finish.
You know, we are very reserved in our comments.
just
If we come here,
all right.
we can also abuse him.
Okay,
You have abused me. We can sink as low as he wants us to sink. How? Where did we abuse him?
All right. Wamatangi, please. I give you time. Just a moment. I give you time. Just can you
we can sink as low as he wants us to sink.
Please. If he's speaking, don't interject. I gave you
Fine.
time, so give him his head as well.
Debarl,
Anyway,
Very
let him
briefly,
say
sir.
what he wants to say.
Aaron, please.
Okay.
Wamatangi, please. We're winding up.
Senator
And my last
Wamatangi.
comment.
Very briefly.
Please let me finish. Senator Wamatangi is not younger than me. He could probably be older than me. But in 1987, when I stood up as a youth, fighting for the liberation of this country, this man here could not even pee outside his house. So for him to come here and talk to me about arrest or detention is actually despicable, because I have not just been arrested and detained and expelled from the University of Nairobi. I've been consistent throughout.
You could
Now,
have, you could have been
clearly,
protesting against meatballs.
can I finish?
And sausage.
Opportunists,
Just a moment.
opportunists and self-seekers would be joining the side that have seized power, even if illegitimately, like these people have done, and would be trying to impress them for appointments or for money and for crumbs.
Thank you.
What has Miguna done?
Thank you.
Miguna stood up on the side of history, on the side of justice, and on the side of truth.
Thank you. Right.
And these jokers
Thank you,
will
thank you,
not
thank you.
change that.
All right, thank you very much. Wamatangi, please, I'll
That's
just give Haman
nonsense.
the opportunity to
I
wrap up the
think-
show.
I
Please.
think,
No right of play, we do the stuff for
in
time.
all fairness-
I didn't have my last
No,
comment.
please.
In all fairness,
No one has.
In all fairness, the
Haman
bar
will.
and the rest of us, we need to be civil in the way we
Yeah,
conduct our
exactly.
business.
But you're not civil.
And at the same time,
You're savage in your comment.
Okay, can
Listen.
Haman is having his head, please give
at
him
the
his time.
same time,
Sorry.
as we sit here, we must know this is a big day. This day, going forward, we can make or break this country. And therefore, Cheriot, to call today's event a charade is
It
actually,
is.
as a leader, is not correct, because
it
we
is.
must know that this is an important day to this country.
In what way, Manyora,
We must
surely?
also remember,
Let him finish.
we must also remember that no amount of quoting verses or articles or whatever will change the fact that there is a problem in the country. And you people, you are actual leaders. Me, I'm just a teacher. You are leaders. It is a responsibility you must take. You must remember that if we are to survive as a nation, and our children have to get a place when we leave them in this country, you must begin by appreciating the fact that there is a political problem in this country. There are issues we need to sort out. There are unfinished
you.
issues to do with our election, and wishing them away will be one way of saying you don't love your children. Because
you.
you don't want to leave them a good
Right, we wind up with that, and of course also information coming to hand right now.
My closing comments.
No one has given closing comments.